Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Core and Pelvic Floor Zoom with me, Hannah, and my dog, who's just the second started barking outside the door. Hopefully he settles down. I think it was the mailman. This is week 10 of our course on core and pelvic floor, and similar to last week, there's going to be minimal speaking and maximum exercising. Today we will be using some small equipment, and if you don't have it, that's okay. It's just optional, but I'm going to be using a set of dumbbells. These are a 3-pound set. You could use a 2, 3, or a 5. You could use some evenly weighted objects from around your house, like soup cans, full water bottles, anything like that. 2 things that weigh the same. Don't worry too much if you don't have them. We're using them for 2 exercises only, and the exercises will work fine without. So don't worry too much, but if you are watching this not live, you can pause and go and grab them if you have that equipment. Otherwise, I have my yoga mat here just for comfort, and we will also need an incline. I've been using my sofa. If you've watched any of the other classes, you could use an exercise bench if you have one. That would be the ideal. I don't have one, which is why I use the sofa and my footstool, which I'm currently sitting on. Just something that you can have higher than your feet. Okay, so let's begin. I promised a lack of talking, and a lack of talking we will have. Today we'll be focusing on our breathing, on our alignment, thinking about our core, thinking about our pelvic floor. And if you followed through all of these classes, this is kind of the last class of this particular format, although core and pelvic floor will continue as an option in the new year, just structured a little bit differently. If you have followed all along, I'd really love to hear what you think. You could send your feedback in. You can write a comment underneath the video. You can email your thoughts in to Abby or myself at Stonebridge, or Amanda. Yeah, I'd really like to hear exactly what you thought about it. If you come to any of my in-person classes, you can tell me in person too. That would be great. All right, enough talking. We're going to stand up and we're going to think about our alignment. So how, Hannah, is alignment different from posture? This is a great question. Posture is the way you stand and the way you look. And alignment is kind of how your body, it's the position of your body and how it works in that position. So similar, posture, I think, is kind of more about looks, and then alignment is kind of more about function. But the 2 go hand in hand. I have a really squeaky floor. So we're going to stand up nice and tall with our feet facing forwards. We don't want those toes out, and we don't want to be pigeon-toed. We want those toes facing forwards. We like to have soft knees, so no locked, super straight legs, soft knees. And now let's think about pelvis. This is the critical area. We want to make sure that our perineum is over the space between your ankles. So have a look. Where are your ankles? Perineum, if you're a woman, is the space behind your vagina before you get to your anus. If you're a man, it's the space behind your testicles before you get to your anus. That little patch there is your perineum. So right here, we're going to align that with a space between your ankles. Think about your pelvis. Are you pushing your pelvis forwards? Are you pushing your bum out? We don't want to do either of those things. We want to be a nice straight line. So almost tucking that bum underneath you a little bit, not rather than pushing your bum out. Standing nice and tall. Our chest is pointing forward. So think about your nipples are pointing forwards, not down, not up, but straight ahead. Shoulders relaxed away from your body, looking up and ahead. And here we are, we're in great alignment. So we're going to think about some breathing here. Breathing is at the heart of this class. Let's have a hand on our ribcage and a hand on our belly, and take a big inhale. Expanding with our belly and ribcage. Nice big belly breath. Good. Also find it really relaxing. Let's take those nice deep breaths. Let's think about our pelvic floor with relation to our breath here too. As we inhale, with our pelvic floor is moving downwards. Now that doesn't mean that we're forcing it down, that we're bearing down. This means it's relaxing, and as the pressure changes in our abdomen, as we fill that diaphragm and belly with air, our pelvic floor is going to move to make room for that. So it's going to come down. As we exhale, the pelvic floor is going to pick up. It's going to contract. Different ways you can think about this. You can imagine an elevator going down as you inhale, an elevator coming up as you exhale. My personal favorite is to think about a flower. So think about a flower in blood. As you inhale, that flower expands and opens its petals. And as it exhales, it closes up again. So let's think about that. Choose your favorite analogy. And let's inhale, relax, and exhale. Good. Inhale, relax, and exhale. Contract. Good. Inhale, and exhale. Good. We're going to do some of our Kegel exercises where we're going to hold the contraction of that pelvic floor for a count of 4. To start with, we'll take that big inhale, relax, and then as you exhale and contract, let's hold that contraction here for 4, 3, 2, 1, and inhale. Relax. Now exhale again. Contract that pelvic floor and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Breathing in through your nose, and then as you exhale, out through your mouth. Contract and hold that pelvic floor for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then inhale. And exhale. Contract. Last one here for 4, 3, 2, 1, and inhale. Relax. Good. Shake it all out. We're going to do some squats. Now, we really like to do some functional movements in this class and think about our breathing and our pelvic floor as we do those functional movements. It's all well and good to be able to hold that Kegel and let it go, but can you harness and connect with that pelvic floor while you're moving around your daily life? So we do some movements that we feel are applicable to daily life. So the first one we're going to do is a squat. We do this in sit-to-stands. We do this every time we get up from a chair, every time we sit down, get up off the toilet, get into the car, you basically do a movement of a squat. So let's think about the pelvic floor during this movement. We want to inhale as we lower down, and we want to exhale as we stand back up. So as we inhale and lower, we're relaxing through our glutes. Those are your big bum muscles. So you want to let them relax. We don't want to be squeezing. So relaxing those glutes, squeezing a little bit as you stand up. Let's think about this here. Nice big inhale, lower down, and exhale to stand. Good. Let's do a couple more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale slowly down and exhale. Good. Really think about relaxing through your glutes, squeezing and picking up that pelvic floor as you come up. We'll do 2 more. Nice relaxation. And last one. Very good. Now we're going to pick up those weights if you have them. Remember I said this was optional, so you can definitely do the movement without the weights. Just realized I'm stood directly underneath my ceiling fan, and oh, looks like I have just enough head clearance I have really low ceilings in this room, so I'm just going to move myself slightly. We're going to do an overhead press. So we'll start with our weights up here, one in each hand, in this goalpost position. Now we're going to press those hands straight up to the ceiling and then lower down. So the way our breath will flow, we'll inhale to prepare, we'll exhale, and you're going to contract that pelvic floor at the same time, and then you'll inhale and relax it as we lower our hands. So we can use that connection breath even though we're not necessarily moving that lower body, but using effort with the upper body. So let's pick those hands up. We'll do these together. Take a nice big inhale. Make sure you're expanding that belly and that rib cage to prepare here. And then pick it up, push them up. Inhale to lower down. Relaxing that pelvic floor as you lower, contracting as you push up. Inhale, exhale, good. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, slowly lower down, and exhale. And lower those hands, good. Let's keep the weights in our hands if you have them. If not, remember you can do these movements without weights. The weights are just for fun. I'm going to turn to the side here and we're going to do a deadlift. So like a hip hinge movement, but we're using our weights if we have them. Feet are hip width apart and knees are soft. As we inhale, we're going to hinge at the hip. Stick your bum out behind you. Lower those hands towards the floor. You see I have a nice flat back. Now the key is to be really relaxed through those glute muscles, through that pelvic floor here. As we stand up and exhale, we're going to squeeze. I'm squeezing my bum a little bit. I'm picking up that pelvic floor. So let's do those together. Inhale, nice and slow and relaxed. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, slowly down. Exhale. Inhale, nice and soft through your knees. Exhale. Inhale, really thinking about the relaxation. And exhale. Inhale. Pelvic floor is relaxed. Exhale, you squeeze and contract. Last one. Slowly down. And up. Perfect. All right, put the weights down for now. We might use them again for one more exercise. I'm just going to have a quick drink. And we're going to come down to the floor. So let's place one foot forwards. That back heel you're going to lift. And as you lift that back heel, that knee bends. Hinge at the hip here. Hands either side of that front foot. Drop that knee all the way down. Come down to all fours. And then from here, we'll sit on our sides. I just need to grab my list of what to do. And we're going to come onto our back. So all the way down, lying flat, nice and slowly. So let's get ourselves comfortable. We're going to start with a bridge lift. Feet are flat on the floor. And I want you to think about the position of your back. We don't want to force our lower back to be touching the floor. When you do that, and if you weren't doing it, try it and feel how that pelvis tilts. We don't want that. You want rib cage and hips in a straight line. I have a tilt in my pelvis here, which is not optimal alignment. So rib cage to hips. For me, that means there's a little space. I can put my hand behind my back. A bridge lift. We're going to press down with our feet on the floor. And as we do so, our hips are going to lift up off the ground. And then we'll slowly lower down. We will exhale as we lift and inhale as we lower. So as we lift, we're going to squeeze our bum contract that pelvic floor as we inhale, as we lower those glute muscles, so your bum, you relax through there, relax that pelvic floor. All right, that's enough talking. Here we go. Take an inhale to prepare. And exhale. Inhale, lower. Good. Squeezing that bum as you lift up. Inhale. Make sure you relax. The relaxation is just as important as the squeeze and the contraction. Last one. And relax. Good. We're going to pick up that weight. Hopefully you have it within arm's reach. If you don't have the weight, that's okay. You can do this without. So I'm going to hold this weight straight up above my head. My arms won't move. You can obviously do this without the weight. You would just hold your empty hands straight up. With our feet, we're going to pick them up. And this is like a version of the dead bug movement that we've done before, but we're just using our feet. So we're going to stretch one foot at a time to the floor. That still hand just provides a little extra difficulty, a little bit more resistance, especially if you're holding the weight. So we'll inhale as we stretch the leg down and then exhale as we pick it back up. Here we go. Inhale, relax. Exhale as you bring that knee back up. Moving nice and slowly. One more each side. Relax as you lower. Good. And then lower those feet down nice and slowly bring that weight down to your side. One more on our back here. Keep those feet flat on the floor and we're going to slide our heels. So 1 foot at a time. We'll slide that heel so that foot is straight and we'll exhale to bring it back up. We'll inhale as we slide and we'll exhale as we come back up. So we're relaxing as we straighten that leg and we're contracting as we bring that foot back up. Here we go, nice and slowly together. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. Really think about contracting that pelvic floor and also relaxing, making sure you can relax. Good, one more each side. Very good. Let me see. We're going to move on from here. So walk your feet to one side of your space, one side of your mat, and then roll those knees back in the other direction to roll yourself onto your side. Let's take this hand, that top hand, push yourself up, nice and slowly to a seated position. And then once you feel like you're ready to move up onto knees. Now we're going to use an incline to do some plank work, or I have another option and you can do your plank on your knees. We'll definitely need the incline, so bring yourself over or bring your furniture over, as I'm going to do. So two options here. We can do that plank on the incline, which looks like this. You can see my hands are higher than my feet. Or we can do a plank on knees today. So hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Your feet are off the floor and you're on your knees. You can see I'm holding myself on my knees. There's no right or wrong. Whatever feels the most comfortable. I think I'm going to use the incline, but we're going to, we're going to do a hold. Incline or knees, either is fine. We'll probably do this twice. So I'll do one on an incline and one on my knees. So choose your spot. We'll get into position here. So hands are directly underneath your shoulders. And we want to stand here not clenching everything. I don't want you to be squeezing your bum too much. Be relaxed through those glute muscles. And we want to take deep breaths. So relax through those stomach muscles as well. You don't need to be contracting and pulling that belly button in all of the time. Let's be nice and relaxed. We're just going to hold this here for about 30 seconds. So take some deep breaths. Make sure you're not squeezing your bum. I want you to be relaxed. Relax through that pelvic floor. Doesn't need to be contracted all of the time, especially when you're holding like this. It's good to be relaxed. Good. There's our 30 seconds. So move those. Stand up if you need to. Move yourself around. We're going to go back into that position and we're going to do some mountain climbers. So in this incline, we're going to drive one knee and then the other up towards your chest. This really works best in the incline. From knees, it's a little bit awkward, so I recommend that you come up onto that incline again and get ready in 2, 1, 30 seconds here. Driving those knees towards your chest, nice and slowly. One at a time. You want to be breathing deeply. 1 and 2 and 3 and relax here. Oh. Good. We'll do one more on the incline now. We're going to have our hands still and we're going to be moving our feet in a slightly different way. So up onto the incline. I'm not at the best angle for you to see me, so I'm just going to move a little bit so you can see my feet better here. We're going to tap one foot out to the side, back in, out to the side, back in. We're going to do this for 30 seconds, and let's begin. Tap to center, tap, back to center. One foot and the other. One foot and the other. So we want to keep our upper body fairly still as we do this. Good. Taking deep breaths. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Oh, and stand up here. Take those arms out. Good. We're going to hold the plank one more time. Be on the incline or on your knees. I'm going to do this on my knees this time. So hands directly underneath your shoulders. I've got my feet up off the floor and you can see a nice straight line from my knees up to my head. And let's hold here, starting now. So yeah, that nice straight line that I talked about, you don't need to be looking up at the ceiling and you don't need to look down at your knees or your feet if you're on the incline. Looking at a spot in between your hands is the best way to make sure that your spine and your neck is in that nice straight line. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Whew. All right, we're on hands and knees now. So we're going to come down, up, until we're seated. We'll stretch those legs out behind us. I'm just going to move my stool. Good. So sit up nice and tall, and we're sitting with our feet right out in front of us. And we're going to raise our legs one at a time. Now, the more upright you sit, the more difficult this is. So if you can use your hands to support your upper body, and if you walk those hands out a little bit and lean back slightly, makes it a little bit easier. So sitting up very tall is slightly more difficult. Leaning back slightly will give you a little bit more space, will be a bit easier. So sit where you're comfortable, I guess. I don't want to say sit nice and tall if you're choosing to lay back a little ways. And one at a time, let's lift and lower those legs. What I find hard with this one is keeping my shoulders relaxed and away from my ears, especially if you have those hands behind you. Those shoulders can creep up. So trying to keep upright with that posture. It looks like I'm using my hands to lift my legs. I'm not. They're just here on the side. Not trying to rush. It's hard. It's a deceptively difficult exercise, I find. One more each side. 1 and 2. Very good. We're going, as we're seated here, we're going to lie down for one more, and then we're going to do a little bit of relaxation, and we will be finished. So let's come down onto our backs again, nice and slowly. We're going to pick those feet up. Take a moment to make sure that rib cage and pelvis is, ribcage and hips are nice and in line. And then think about that breathing again. So think about that connection breath. We were not concentrating on it quite so much in the last couple of exercises and those planks. So let's take a second to inhale, relax, and exhale to contract. And now as we inhale, we're going to tap that foot down. As exhale, we'll pick it up. Good, nice and slowly. Good, couple more. I know we're moving very slowly. We don't want to rush the breathing. One more each side. Good, and then lower both those feet and flatten, straighten those legs. We'll bring our arms down to our sides. We're just going to spend a couple of minutes feeling nice and relaxed. You can close your eyes. Take deep breaths all the time here. Really thinking about being relaxed, especially relaxed through that pelvic floor, but relaxed everywhere. So we can start with our feet. Your toes are nice and loose. You don't have them all tense and scrunched up. If you're wearing shoes, hopefully they're not scrunched up in your shoes. And if you're bare feet, you can wiggle those toes. Let your feet fall gently apart. Legs are relaxed, and all the way up to those glute muscles to your bum. Hopefully you're not squeezing your bum. No squeezing, just relaxing. Good. Let's take a couple of breaths so we think about that pelvic floor now as we exhale. That contraction is always there, but what we really want to think about is the relaxation as we inhale. That doesn't mean bearing down. Just means, yeah, the petals of that flower are unfurling, they're blossoming. Good, back is relaxed. And those arms too. Try and release any tension from those shoulders. So let those shoulders sink into the floor. Hands are by your sides and your fingers are relaxed. Let's turn those palms up to the ceiling. And just let your fingers curl as they're comfortable. Good, and relax that face. Let your jaw be free of tension. Let go of any frowning. I'm terrible for frowning, so I really have to remind myself to not frown. Yeah, let that jaw be relaxed and nice deep breaths. We'll take one more big full breath here. Well, it's the end of the class, so we need to start waking up. So wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Let's bring one foot up and then the other. You can open those eyes. Now, I've been on the floor for a while, so we'll sit up nice and slowly. Walk those feet over to one side of your mat and then roll those knees to roll your whole body onto your side. Use that top hand to push yourself up. So seated, nice and slowly. And stay here in this seated position for just a moment because we were on the ground for a while and we don't want anybody being dizzy. When you're ready, bring those hands down to support you. Push yourself up onto all fours. And let's use whatever you were using for the incline to pull yourself back up to stand. Great. Thanks so much, everybody. This was fun. I enjoyed. This is the last Zoom pelvic floor class, but pelvic floor will return in the new year. No classes next week. Classes the week after. I can't think of the dates. After the 2nd of January. 2nd of January we return, so nothing next week. Hope you enjoyed and have a really Merry Christmas and a nice break. And we'll see you all in the new year.
Thank you, Hannah. Merry Christmas.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.